Hello again, it's Steve here. I have some shocking news. We have another new guitar. This is the Squier StarCaster. In a mahogany. This is a brand new style guitar. It's a re-release of an old version, I guess, of a vintage type guitar. We're going to do a little bit with this, not a lot. This has a nice set of tuners, but I'm going to change them. I thought it came with the F-style ones, but it didn't. And I have a set of F-style tuners that are the split tops that go back to the original styles. We're going to change the string tree, and we're going to put on a new set of strings. We're going to go with 9s flat wounds, these GS electric flat wound strings. This plays really nice. This is a very nice guitar. This is just simple embellishment that I want to do to make this guitar my own. I don't think I'm going to mess with the fingerboard or anything. I'm just going to keep this the style that it is and put some things on here that I like, the tuners. Those tuners are very nice. I'll save them for another project, but I should be able to just swap these guys out, I think, if I'm lucky, because they're set up the same way as these. So, they're a little different. As life would be, these are going to be a little different anyway. This is, I think you can see, made in Indonesia piece. So it's Squier, and we're going to get to this now. All right, it's not going to be quite so simple, but we'll do it anyway. All right, as is with so many brand new guitars, there's plastic that they put in to protect everything. This still has some plastic around the edges of these screws, and I'm going to back this off and one at a time remove this plastic debris from around the screws. What a pain in the neck, but it's part of what a new guitar is, in that it's protected. And you got to dig out all this old plastic stuff that's been left behind to protect the chrome parts and even plastic parts. The pick guards and stuff have all this plastic material around them also. So we'll just take this stuff out little bit by little bit. Make sure we get it all free. I think I got that out of there. I don't think there's anything else left in there. I think that's the end of it. I don't think there's any under this other screw, but I'm going to loosen it up, just to be sure. But this is a very well made guitar. It's got nice pickups, it's got nice electronics. The neck and stuff is just gorgeous. The body is very, very nice. So that gets rid of that debris there. Now the next thing we're going to have to do, because what I'm going to do is change the tuners, because I want the original F-style tuners, they're not in there, they're over here, to be on this guitar to sort of more authenticate it in its style, if you will. But to do that, the first thing I got to do is flip it over and take the strings off, because we're going to put new strings on. We're going to put these GHS 9s. These are 9 to 42, I believe. Hang tough. We'll put this up, and we'll loosen the strings. Oh, I got to go get my power tool. We'll use power to take these off. Make it simple. Make life simple. Don't go away. Second thought, we'll just do it by hand. My hands are right here, and the strings are coming off easy. Not a big deal. And this will be interesting. All right, so no big thrill about taking strings off. We'll be back when we get to more fun stuff. All right, so we got all the strings off. Well, they're all off the top here. We got to take them off the bottom. And I'm going to replace the string tree here also with a Rolex string tree instead of this loopy thing. I don't know why they put these stupid. I'm surprised they put this cheap, dumb thing on, but they did. But I'm getting rid of it. I hate it. I hate these kinds. They create too much drag for the strings. I would think they'd learn a lesson by now and not do that anymore. We're going to go down to the other end and we'll cut the strings away and we'll take them off the back here. This is a Gibson style, I think is what you call it, bridge in the back. I don't think this is, I think it is a Gibson style bridge. And these strings feed through the back. So we'll cut these away. And these are just going to pop out the rear door. Oh, the whole thing pops out. Whoa. So we got to be careful not to throw this on the floor. Oh, a couple of these guys are stuck in here. Is that a kick in the nose? Here it comes. The last one, because the string is so skinny, I don't know if we'll have a hard time getting it out of there. Because we can't get this to pop out, we'll take the other string and turn it around and use it as a popper and pop that out. So that's out now and the strings are off. These are all kind of loosey-goosey. So this needs to be set up so when you place the strings going up over that they don't touch this part of the bridge. I didn't notice that just now, but we can take a look at that now that I'm thinking about it and just take a test look at how they set this up at the shop, because they're not supposed to touch that part of the bridge, and they don't. So they did set it up correctly. That's nice to know. Another piece of good setup work by Fender. So now what are we going to do? Well, we've got to take the tuners off up top and flip this over and take the screws out of the headstock and take the tuners off. Anyway, so let's put this down flat. Let's get a little bit more light on the subject, and let's see if we can take out the screws with this screwdriver. Screwdriver, drive by Mary's place. We've got to see if the collars are going to fit. Maybe we'll get a little bit of a break and not have to replace the collars on here. That would be nice. So there's one. And I'll finish, well, let me take this one off and see how it does. See how the tuner comes off. All right, so there's the first one coming out nice and easy. So that's good. Now we've got to take a look and see if if we get lucky, which I never do. I'm never lucky. I'm about the most unlucky luthier walking the planet. These are going to fit through that collar. And are we that lucky? Of course not. Why, of course we're not. So they don't go through that collar. So I've got to replace these collars that are in there. We'll have to pop them out. Life is never simple. At least my life as a apprentice luthier never seems to go simply. Anyway, I'll be back. All right, so I tried these guys. These are the other bushings. The holes are too small for the bushings, and the bushings that are in here already don't accept these tuners, the new ones, the real F-style tuners, which are the slotted. These are imitation F-styles, even though they're made for fender or by fender or whatever, they don't have the slot. And I want the slotted real F-style tuners. And the other thing that'll be nice about this upgrade, though, is that they do have the F for fender on the back of the tuner. So, and this is a genuine fender part. Isn't that exciting? So we're taking one genuine fender part out and putting another genuine fender part in that's made in Taiwan for this Indonesia guitar. But the first thing we're going to do is take the bushings out. So what we'll do is use a nut driver head, and we'll just give it a quick bang and see if that just pops out easy, and it does. I'm afraid to look on the other side and see how much damage there is. Now these are identical looking bushings, okay? They got the same style. They're just a little different, I think. The new Fender one is actually beefier. This one here is the new one with the real F-styles, is actually beefier than the one I'm taking out. And I don't think this is going to fit the way that it is because it's a little bit heavier in the casting. Yeah, it ain't. I'm going to have to use a what do you call it? I'll think of it in a minute. All right, so that's all the bushings. They're all sitting on the ground on the other side of this guitar. So if we pick up the head, there they are, 5 in a row. So we'll keep all these guys together as one set, and I'll put them in a little plastic bag. Another project? I doubt it, because I don't like them. I like the F-style tuners. So if we take a look at these holes that are here now, we'll be able to clearly see that they will not accept the new bushing. That's a very similar style, because these must be made in Taiwan or China or something, because I don't know if you can see it clearly, but they're clearly two different weights. This one, the new replacement one that's made in Taiwan, rather than the one from Indonesia, these are cheaper and crummier. They're thinner. And this is thicker. But because it's thicker, I've got to take into account for that to fit into there. I'm going to have to ream it out. Oops. Oh, good catch. What a save. My God, am I agile. I've got to get my reamer and open up these holes just a little bit. Be right back. Okay, we're back. Now, this is what I was trying to think of the name of. If you do work on things and you want to adjust the size of a hole, there's nothing better than a tapered reamer to just bring it out a little bit, you know, if you don't need a lot. And it eliminates the risk of breaking things from re-drilling. So all we do is stick this in the hole, and we're going to twist it a few times. I don't think this is going to take a heck of a lot to open this up. And you can see the shavings that are coming out of there already. Does a nice job. And with that simple reaming, this is still not big enough. So after my industrial strength, wonderful explanation as to how simple it can be, we'll do a little bit more. And with that, we'll see if we've made enough progress. because I don't want to overdo these. I want them to fit perfectly in there. We just gotta, this is good hard wood, because I want them to still be nice and tight, if you catch my drift, okay? I don't want to over-ream the hole and make these things floppy loose in there. Now I could probably drive that in, but I'm going to, matter of fact I know I could, but I want to make it a little bit bigger. I don't want to pound it in. I mean, I want to tap it in. There we go, that's nice. Okay, so we can take our mallet and a little cloth and we can drop that in and it'll be perfect. Cover it with a rag. No, it ain't perfect. Still isn't going in. So I may need to flip that over and pop it out again and ream it out a little bigger. Ream it out just a little bit bigger because I want these to be able to fit through there without any trouble. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? Oh, I might have to ream out the whole back too, because I got to fit that. Oh, there's a whole other issue. This collar is different than that collar. See, there is no collar there. There is a collar here. So what I got to actually do is to drill that out so that that collar will fit. Not just a job, an adventure. All right, so moving right along now, we've kind of hit the point of no return. I reamed out this so that I really can't go back to the size that I already had because I've already destroyed one. So I put those other pickups away. I've measured the hole. It's a 3/8 inch drill, which I've got here on a low power drill, and I'm going to drill these out. And what I'm going to do, I think, is put a piece of tape across the front and the back to try to hold together the finish here and not do any more damage to that than I can help. And then we're going to turn it over and drill from the front, but I want to make sure that's good and tight, nice and snug. We'll carefully bring this over. So this is something that I thought, again, would be a simple project because it looked like they're the same style of tuner and so forth. But, as with many tuners, something gets fishy. So what we have is another manufacturer making these tuners for Squier, not Fender. Fender is the authorizing agent, but the Squier label, I think, is an independent entity that uses the Fender name and label. I don't understand how it is, but let's try this with good old number one. We'll take the first hole we've already started on and see if we can get this to go through cleanly. Oop. I might have to go to a higher power drill because this wood is pretty tough. 18 volt industrial strength chopper. So I got to be careful with this because this will rip a whole new hole through here without even thinking about it. But it'll give me power, torque to go through cleanly. And I'm going to go all the way through and come all the way back out again. I don't know what difference it'll make, but I think I'll stop and see how, that's not bad, to see how this fits right out of the window. The grommet is still a little tight. Isn't that a kick in the nose? Let me try a tuner and see how it goes through that hole. Yeah, so that'll be okay on the back, but I still gotta wiggle it around here in the front, or maybe hand ream it out to get it just a little bit better on this side to accept each one of these pieces from the front. The grommet. Yeah, now that drops in. Alright, or it'll press in anyway. So that's good. Okay. So that'll work. Matter of fact, I want to lay this one down and convince myself that I'm doing the right thing. Not quite. All right, so that's that. Now, if we've done this right, this should be able to pop up through. I got the tape in the way back there. How's that looking? Yeah, I think the tape is jamming it up a little bit. So this is turning into your basic Nightmare on Elm Street, which is pretty typical for the way most of my projects go. Let's pull this tape up. I think it's doing its job protecting the finish. And I think it's just in the way. Yeah, so the finish is in good shape. It'll all be covered by the tuner anyway. So all I want to see is how well if it's going to fit down. And do I have to wiggle the drill when I go through? And I think I do, just a little bit. Anybody with me? Or am I home alone? Eek. I don't want to touch the other side. Oy vey. I may never post this video. Alright, so that puts that in. Holy cow. When you think something is going to be simple, and it turns out not even to be close. Alright, so that's good. So we'll just finish drilling. We'll drill from this side now, because this is the side I'm going to have to wiggle out a little bit. We'll see if we can get this to go through good. And just move it around a little bit. And that should make the hole just big enough to accept. So it must be a metric size. I was thinking this was US, but this is Indonesia. So it's probably a metric. It's probably not 3/8. It's probably something millimeters. But like I said, we're kind of committed. I think I've just blown my warranty. Okay. I don't know. I may not have a leg to stand on now for any warranty work. Just trying to muscle this around with the power of the torque. I'll finish this up. I'll bring you back when I take the tape off. All right, we're going to take the tape off and see what kind of damage we've done. We've got to see how well these are going to fit both front and back. Okay, so the back is going to fit fine now with my rustling it around a little bit. That fits perfect. These tuners should just lay in there. So the next question really is about the bushings and how well they're going to sit. So let's flip this over again because we've got to put the bushings in first. Anyway, so now we're over on our back. We'll lift these guys out. Lift the tape off, I mean. And we'll see how this all looks. Good, I didn't do much damage at all. Let's get another bushing out here. Yeah, I just got to ream this out a little bit on this side. And I think I'm just going to do it with the power drill and give it a little bit of a wiggle. Some of these might fit, but no, I think I'll use the reamer, the hand reamer. I got a better chance of doing less damage with that because I only want to make a change on this side anyway. Well, if Fender had gone ahead and used real F-style tuners instead of the imitation ones, I'd be a happier camper right now. Right? Right. Let's get another one of these guys and see what happens if we place it. I think they'll go now. Yeah, that one's going down pretty good. Let me get the rest of them out and we'll see if we can't place the bushings. This is my headache, not yours. Yeah, oh, that was good. That was a good idea. I'm glad I just reamed. Oh, those are fitting perfect. So that's one thing in a row that seemed to have worked. Let me put this in flush, even. There we go. The only one that's not quite fitting as good as the very first one. The rest of these are fitting in there just like they ought to. No nonsense. So I'm just going to cover these with a rag just to protect the metal. Oh, hang on and give them a tap. That should seat them, I think, pretty well. Because you want them to be snug. Snugger than that. So it might be a little bit loose. But that's good. Okay? So we know we've done that side fairly well. I don't see any marks or anything from my horrendous job. And we'll be right back. All right, so now we've got the new silver string tree ready to go on. All right, so we've gone to a longer screw, which I hope isn't going to be too long. Because the other one just was too short. It just can't get enough bite. The collar of this string tree is deeper than the other one was. So that should be nice and tight now. So there we go. So there's the new string tree. Problem 782 has passed by now. All right, so now we've got to flip over the other way and put the new F-style tuners in that we came here for. Remember, that's what we came here for, was to do the F-style tuners. I've got a bunch of holes here that are just going to be there. I'm not going to do anything with them. I don't feel like filling them. And with these tuners, I don't believe there is a first and a last. You know, they don't run that way. So let's just put them all in. We'll get a good idea how they're going to line up. So that's how they'll sit. So let's turn these all a half turn. So that's the best way to line these guys up, is with a nice metal ruler. Oh, we just want to break the surface. Put the other one back here dead center. Now we'll get the first two screws and throw them down the holes, and that'll give us a position to start from. Put my magic light on. I gotta get a better screwdriver tip. All right, there we are. They're all finally in. Son of a gun. Now we get to go flip it over and start putting strings on. And here's the front side all done. So now we have actual F-tuners instead of imitation F-tuners. And that was a hell of a struggle to put them in, but I'm glad I did it because I really like these. I like changing the strings with F-tuners. I like the look of the silly old F-tuners. It's just my preference. So the next thing we got to do is come back down the other end and get ready to put the strings back on. So we've got to rebuild the bridge that I took off. So that's going to go back on that way. And then this will give a little wipe and a clean. And then we'll get the new strings and run them through. And it should all line up just piss perfect. Okay, so, oh, what happened? I missed the whole thing. There we go. All right, now we're back on. We're in business. Oh, everything's falling off. Not very tight, are they? It's the strings that hold them on. So let's line those guys up so we got a reference point to start. And we know we're in about the same place that we were originally. Or pretty damn close. Doing the 9 to 42s. Flat wound. So give me a minute, we'll get these out and we'll get going. All right, we're all ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the 9 and the 42 in, the E to E first, and then I'll be ready. That'll hold the this thing on, the bridge, you know, keep that in place. So we'll put that one up there. We'll get the 9, run it up the other side, and then we'll go up to the headstock and try to make this all come together so it'll stay in place and be there. All right, and F-style tuners, I think are much simpler to load, much simpler to use. Just trying to bend the camera head down. So what you're going to do is you're going to take 2 and go 2.5 and then nip it off at about 2.5. And then we're going to stuff it down the hole and then give it a wrap. Can probably get away with 1 by hand. And that's as simple as that is to get these in. Where's my magic string winder? So we get the string winder and we wind the string. You want to hold tension down just to keep the string going underneath. All right, so there's the first string back on our makeover. That was just going to be a simple walk in the pack. So we're going over and under, and we're going to go out 2.5, maybe a little longer with these skinny strings. Oh, and there's another thing we'll do. We can do a wrap around and around. All right, so we're coming out, we're coming up, we're going under the tree. We're going to go in the hole. If you can see that, sink it to the bottom. We're going to go around, and instead of going all the way around again, we're going to go back through the loop to catch it there, and that'll hold that from popping out. Cute idea, huh? You know, from sliding. We'll get a few winds here, and then we'll get the magic stick and give it a wind. Once it gets down tight, we'll make sure it's under the string tree and in the right place on the fret, and we'll still hold it down. We'll wait for some tension. I hear the sound of music. Okay, so that should hold. Oh, Christ. What did I do wrong? Take a look down here and you can see how the genius works. All right, this string is supposed to be in there. And I didn't even look when I wound it down. So once we get it up and into the right place, All right, so and this one's wrong too. So I only did everything wrong on both strings, which is amazing. Actually, for me, it's about par for the course. And now my camera's going to slide all over the place. Don't go away mad. I know you paid big admission for this, but where else can you see a fool work like this? For nothing. All right, so we've got to back the tension off here and get this string into its correct position. Now, one of the other things we need to look at is to make sure that there's space between the string and the back of the bridge on this side and on both sides. And on this side there's not. It's hitting. So we need to raise this side up, I think just a little bit, and make it correct, because that ain't correct the way it is there. There, now we're off it. It must have moved, because I swear to God it was okay when I went down. Go up just a little bit there. That's not going to change the string height, all right? The string height is from here, I believe, from these knobs, so that should still be the same setup as we had before. And this is way loose too, so let's get some tension here. We'll see if that makes a difference with the contact point, if that's hidden there or not. So we know the big E is good. That's not hidden. And now we know the low E. No, that's still, I'm not really wicked happy with that. I think I got to come up a little bit more. Where's my piece of paper? Because it's only just got to clear, is the story I'm told. Okay, so that should be good. Thing works out. All right, be back in a minute. Okay, now we're all done. Strings are on. Okay, the F-style real tuners, real F-styles, are installed and working fine. These ones you tuck the string into, there's no end sticking out anywhere, so you don't get cut all over the place. The other thing I forgot to mention is, first thing I did when I got this guitar, it comes with a pick guard. This is such a beautiful guitar, and the pick guard serves such little purpose, I took it off right away, because I like it to show. I like the F-holes to show. I like the whole thing to show. I took a black screw and put it in where that hole was. And there's another small ding. I don't know what that is. It's an imperfection maybe, or where the screw is hidden. But there's that mark there. I filled that with a little bit of black. And then on the other side, I put black screws in just to fill in the cavity. So now what I got to do is tune this up. We'll bring it over and we'll give it a nice play. I got a nice little strap to put on here. That kind of goes, I think, with the feeling of the guitar. So we just got to play it and see how it goes. Okay, so I'll meet you over at the amplifier, and we'll pick up a tuner and we'll get it all tuned up and ready. All right, we're back here with the StarCaster by Squier. There are 3 different versions of the StarCaster. This one has double humbuckers. There's single humbuckers. There's a modified one with active pickups for the humbuckers that only has one volume and a tone. So there's a few different versions of this. But I like the look of this. I've changed now, okay? I took the pickguard off. I changed the tuners. I changed the string tree to one that looks better. I like the F-style tuners because I think they're easier to use and they're the original style that Fender played with. Now this is a throwback, I believe, from what they said in the things I've read about this, but it plays beautiful. It's got a terrific neck, very comfortable. It was well set up right out of the box. You didn't really have to do anything. I did this stuff because I wanted it that way. I bought the tuners before I even got the guitar shipped to me because I wanted to go with that style. And I got these from Fender for about 33 bucks, a fairly cheap upgrade. This is a 400-buck guitar, but it plays like a dream. It's made in Indonesia. About the introduction to it. I really like this. This feels good. It looks good. I did what I wanted to do. I think I'm leaving the rest of it alone and just leave it like it is. Like a throwback to the 70s or wherever the hell it came from. I'm not sure. I never saw this kind of a headstock until I saw the ad for these guys. And it made me curious, so I bought one. Not disappointed.